I had to take my foot out of the ass of the Republicans and basically give my fair treatment of ass whooping to the Democrats because for me personally, I don't discriminate when it comes to party affiliations or whatever. Both parties will get the same smoke from me because, as far as I'm concerned, both these parties will jockey for position to try to attain that whip and crack that whip out on our asses. Now, who you see here on the left is old nigga Jim Clyburn. He represents the 6th Congressional District of South Carolina. I've lived in this Bama's district. I remember when he first got elected in January 1993, and he's been a big old buck dancing bonanza ever since. Now, he was on a segment of NBC's Meet the Press with Kristen Welker. She's the new moderator on that show. And he was asked the question about the status of Camel Toe, oh, Camel Toe, being the future leader of the Democratic Party. So, look, they know good and well that this woman don't have a snowball's chance in hell of becoming the nominee for the Democrats. I mean, this woman couldn't even poll at 10% in her home state of California. And then when you talk to people who lived in California during this woman's time there, and not one person I've met who's from California who lived there during the time of Kamala Harris had nothing good to say about her. I'm gonna play a clip, fair use, fair use. And we're gonna talk about this on the other side.
I know that you are saying you don't look at the polls too much, but our poll does show her favorability is actually lower than President Biden and even than former President Trump. Why do you think she's not resonating more with voters? What do you think the issue is?
Because when you compare the first woman of color and first woman to be vice president of the United States and compare that to all of the history before, you will get that. I think that during this campaign, she will demonstrate, as she did in that hall last night, that she knows exactly what she's doing. She has the capacity and the capability to be president of the United States if called upon to do so.
Now, old nigga Jim Clyburn, I don't know where you get that garbage from. Hey, Susie Q, salute to you, my sister. Good to see you. You missed somebody's birthday last week, but hey, neither here nor there. I'm so happy that you're here. Now, Clyburn. Now, I know you had to take time out of your busy schedule to, prep that catfish for, for the fall fish fry at the National Inaction Network Jamboree. But I need you to understand something. That is not the reason why she's not resonating with the voters. You want to know what the truth is? What's up, Kim? My sister Kim in the building. My big sister up in here. Woohoo! What's up, Nathan? You want to know the real reason why Camel Toe? Oh, Camel Toe. You know why she's not resonating with the voters? Because she's a thicker, fraud, and a phony. That's the real reason why Kamala Harris ain't resonating with the voters. This woman is polling lower than Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And you think that she could be the future of the Democratic Party? Lord have mercy. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah. Stop. Stop smoking. Stop smoking there. You guys in that comment section talking about stop smoking there. Smoking there kills election. Stop smoking there. Stop smoking there. Hey, I got one word for you. I got two words for you, Clyburn. Stop lying. You telling people to stop sloganeering. How about you stop lying? You know good and well this woman ain't getting it on her merits. She might get there in her oral skills, but she ain't getting there on her merits. How you think she got her comeuppance? You think she got there because she was this powerful player in the Democratic Party and all that? No, absolutely not. The stories that we heard about this woman, but she's supposed to be the future of the Democratic Party. Why didn't you come out and just flat out say yes or no? Why you had to go on this long-winded soliloquy about she had to compete because because there's people out there that could emerge and all. We know that. We know that. You ain't saying nothing new. You just basically confirming what we already know. Why don't you just come out and say it? The vice presidency is her ceiling. Come on, Clyburn. Come on, Clyburn. I know you have a propensity to kick people out your fish fry, even though your fish fry is supposed to be free. But you have a propensity of kicking people out your fish fry for asking you about reparations. And then you want to make some snarky remark with your old senile ass talk about, oh, y'all need to understand what the word reparations means. And the root word of that is to repair. Yeah, why missing the fact that you, as a representative, Clyburn, and you've been a representative for 3 decades, and you couldn't get not one bill passed that with that bullshit ass reparations bill, that HR 40 bill that y'all keep parading around like y'all doing something when y'all ain't did a goddamn thing. Maybe you forgot the root word of what a representative was, Clyburn, and that's to represent. We don't fool with Kamala Harris just because she has some ties to some sorority. And then let's get the real truth out there, because if I had said it once, I said it 1,000 times. When this woman was a senator, the junior senator out in California, she wasn't parading around herself as a black woman. Hell no. She was parading around herself as an Asian. She was parading around herself as an Asian. Now, when she ran for president, all of a sudden she found her blackness. She goes up to the attic of her fucking house, and in that attic just happened to be a pair of Converse, right? That box of Converse, and she blows the duff, she blows the duff off that Converse, open up the box, put on them shoes, and all of a sudden now she black again. The fuck out of here! You can't, you can't sell me that shit. Don't even begin to try to sell me that shit. Okay? Why she's not resonating with the voters? Because she's a fake, a fraud, and a phony, and people see her for what she is. She is a notorious, self-hating individual. This woman don't even have confidence in herself to read a presidential daily brief. They carry out the presidential daily brief, and then when she makes her, then when she looks like a buffoon for not knowing what's in the brief, then she's going to berate the people who spent all the time and all the resources trying to put that shit together for her. But yet, she knows what it takes to become president of the United States. She couldn't be president of her own fan club. She'll have to compete. Compete for what? Now, if you remember, when Biden first ran in 2020 for the third time, because for those of y'all may not be aware, this was Biden's third go around running for president. The first time he tried to run was in 1987. And when he was outed for plagiarism, that would kill this campaign right there. Then he tried to run again in 2008, but really didn't get any kind of traction in 2008. And he was basically an obscure um, candidate until Barack Obama made him the vice president, which basically, when you circle the wagons back around and Biden ended up becoming president, this is basically Obama's third term. But anyway, neither here nor there. Third time's the charm. Biden becomes president. And this woman couldn't even make it to the Iowa debate. She couldn't even make it to Iowa. She was one of the first people to drop out, right? And what did Biden do? In light of the George Floyd murder, the Democratic Party was under pressure to nominate a quote unquote woman of color. Now, if you follow my channel for any length of time, oh, what's up, Underrated Darkness? Salute to you, brother. Go subscribe to my boy, the Underrated Darkness, man. If you follow my channel for any length of time, you know or should know that I absolutely cannot stand that fucking woman of color term or anything of color. I cannot stand that shit. Because when you ask them, hey, what's the difference between a woman of color and a colored woman, they can't tell you. Or, hey, what's the difference between a person of color and a colored person? They can't tell you. So it just racks my fucking brain that when I hear that term, people of color or woman of color or something of color. Anyway, exactly, our Jizzle, when she brought up that when Tulsi Gabbard, who was a nothing burger also, right? Because you know she defected and went to the Republican Party, but she brought that up at the Detroit debate when it was in Detroit, Michigan, and you know Detroit is predominantly black. Detroit, Michigan is predominantly black, and Tulsi Gabbard went up there and brought up all that stuff Kamala Harris did, and that right there torpedoed her fucking campaign. She could never recover because she did not have an answer for the stuff that Tulsi Gabbard brought up because she couldn't refute any of the things that Tulsi Gabbard brought up. All she could say is, as the elected attorney general for the state of California, I did the work. And as a result of that work, I became a model for what the nation has become. I did the work. I did all this work as the attorney general for the state of California. That's the only thing she could say. Because she could refute anything that Tulsi Gabbard said. This woman couldn't even pull at 10% in her home state. You would figure your home state, where you're from, you got people riding for you, people die for you. No, people want to see you die. Because that's how much disdain that a lot of people who lived in California have for Kamala Harris. I've talked to a bunch of people who lived in California during this woman's time. Not one, not one. Not one person had anything good to say about this woman. Not one. But you think she has what it takes to become president, Clyburn? Stop lying. That's the thing that really gets on my nerves, man. And Kristen Welker, you know better than that. Because you could have called them out on that bullshit, Kristen Welker. You could have called them out on that. You're supposed to be this independent journalist, right? You don't align with the Republicans or you don't align with the Democrats. Okay, that's fine. But you could have called them out as soon as he said what he said. You could have called them out on that shit. Kamala Harris's reputation precedes her. All this exodus of people leaving, you think that's by design? Man, them people leaving because they are they've had it with her. When she was a prosecutor out in San Francisco, a a damn attorney general out in California, to the junior senator out in California, all the way up to the vice president. All these people had negative things to say about her. And we got these damn Kamala bots, these K-Hive members, these jackasses that be on Roland Martin's goddamn show trying to defend her. Talk about it's the messaging. It's the messaging. What messaging? The fuck you talking about? What messaging you talking about? Because what you're trying to say and what is being out there as the truth. So what you're saying versus what's the truth don't jive. It ain't congruent. It ain't the same. Something is distorted here. So what is it? Is it the truth that's distorted? You can't distort the truth. The truth of the matter is she ain't qualified. That's the truth of the matter. This woman's going on all these interviews, botching all these interviews. This woman here out here lying at a goddamn rap convention about the origin of hip hop, and it's talking about how her girlfriend picked her up when she was in high school, and her daddy is driving this black Cadillac Coupe de Ville. Just one thing. Just one thing, right? Because I looked it up. Kim, I still hope you in here, right? Just one thing. Kamala Harris was not in Oakland during the time she claimed she was in high school. She was out in Canada. For her high school years, she was out in Canada. So if you in Canada, if you're in Canada going to high school, then how's your friend daddy picking you up in his black Cadillac Coupe de Ville out in Oakland if you're out in Canada? Somebody lied. Somebody lied. Somebody is telling lies on TV. I have it on good faith that Kamala Harris don't know none of the lyrics to them songs. None. She's out here putting on the front, and nobody called her out on that nonsense. That's why I don't have no respect for none of the rappers that went there and shit. I don't look up to none of the rappers for no goddamn political advice. For what? You guys bought and paid for pawns on the goddamn chessboard. My physical frame is celebrated because it made it. Regarded through life as godly, I think, created. Got around 365 ways annual plus some. Load up the mic and cuss one, plus one, I bust one. Oh, Lord. Sorry, I'm twisting my words from Life's a Bitch with Nas and AZ back in 1993 off his Illmatic album. Track number 3, Life's a Bitch. I know that. See, Kamala, unlike you, I actually listen to rap. But anyway, that need to hear there. Fucking up the lyrics and shit. That's okay. That's more than what you do. Cause you out here fucking up the country. And that Bussy boy, that Jason Lee dude out here talking shit, fuck you. You go back to doing what you do best, and that's taking all kinds of dictation. Okay? You do best, Jason Lee. But hey, I'm gonna read this article here, and coming from the Daily Mail. Democrats who've been instrumental in getting Joe Biden elected as president in 2020 is stopping short of endorsing the current VP, Kamala Harris, as the face of the future of the Democratic Party. Clyburn of South Carolina is the campaign co-chair for the Biden-Harris 2024 re-election campaign. Campaign co-chair, huh? Interesting. During the 2020 election season, he endorsed then candidate Biden just before the South Carolina primary, propelling him to victory, helping Biden secure the Democratic nomination and subsequently win the presidency. But now he is dodging the very simple question as whether Harris is ready for the top job if and when the time comes. Speaking on Meet the Press on Sunday, Clyburn, now the assistant House Democratic leader, was asked if he saw Harris as the future of the party. I see her as part of that future, absolutely. But when Krista Welker asked him, is she the future? She could very well be. She's running a very good campaign, and I look to her as a successor to the president. But I also know the history of that as well. It is not a given. You don't automatically move on up. She'll have to compete. Whoever she has dreams and aspirations, and I think she will acquit herself well. Now, Clyburn has represented the South Carolina 6th Congressional District since '93, making him one of the longest-serving members of the House. I don't get for the life of me why we still voting for this old crusty bitch. While the question of seeking re-election to the presidency has been a given for most modern presidents, that's not always been the case for Biden. And the reason for that is because he's too fucking old. Notable swath of Democratic voters have indicated they would prefer he not run, in part because of his age, concerns Biden himself has called totally legitimate. Now, Biden is 80 years old. He got Jerry Rice's number. He announced in late April for his bid for a second term with VP Harris, but questions have emerged in the last year of whether the president is too old or too unfit to serve for 4 more years. Senior Democrats have appeared to remain in denial about the issue, at least in public, partly because there's no obvious alternative. And then this the thing, right? We see all these people out here having all kinds of medical problems. You see Dianne Feinstein. She don't even remember that she put her own daughter as the person who makes decisions for her. In other words, she couldn't remember that she gave her own daughter the power of attorney. And Dianne Feinstein is like 90 years old. This woman was there when Jesus or when Moses parted the Red Sea. She was there. She was there when Moses parted the Red Sea. Dianne Feinstein, right? Too goddamn old. Needs to be term limits for Congress. Clyburn himself is 80 years old. Nancy Pelosi is in her mid 80s. So even though they may not be quote unquote in positions of power, but they still got the influence within the Democratic Party. So we got to rid ourselves of these old fossils. They need to be term limits in Congress. Hell, Kamala herself is about to be 60 years old. They're too damn old. You got damn Steny Hoyer, that motherfucker in his 80s. He was an old, crusty old bastard in Congress. You got Mitch McConnell, even though he not a damn Democrat, but he up there in that age too. This dude's out here looking like he got involved in stage fright. He's sitting up there, uh, today we have bipartisan support and he just stare off in the trance like someone is sitting down stirring coffee or somebody is dangling a medallion in front of him and he just stood there in silence and just watched this medallion dangle back and forth that he freezes up. That's Mitch McConnell for you. But anyway, all these people old. And Kamala Harris be the future of the Democratic Party. And she almost 60, but she's supposed to be the future of the Democratic Party. Now, for those of you that may not be aware, that they're looking at that as, 60 years old is young. No, 60 years old is not young. Okay, might be young to a politician, but 60 years old, that's pretty damn old her damn self. What they really want to say, right, but they can't say it right now, is the fact that the obvious alternative to them would be Gavin Newsom. That's their obvious alternative. But as long as Biden is pretty much running things, they can't say that. They can't have people coming out saying that, hey, look, we looking to Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is the future of the Democratic Party. That's why they got him doing interviews. That's why they got him sprinkling in all this stuff because he is the future of the Democratic Party. If you put him right now in Kamala Harris in an election, Gavin Newsom will beat Kamala Harris. He just will. That's the truth of the matter. I know a lot of you Kamala bots and some of you low-hanging fruit that hang on her every word don't like that. Well, guess what? The truth don't care about your feelings. If you put Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris in an election right now, Gavin Newsom beats Kamala Harris. Fight me. Now, what is the accomplishment? Have black people benefited from these so-called accomplishments? No. That's why they had that bootleg jamboree a couple weeks ago. They had that goddamn bootleg jamboree a couple weeks ago. And who was there? Clyburn, Biden, Kamala, all the goddamn usual suspects. She was chosen in 2020 to counter arguments against Biden's age, but in office has become the least popular vice president in polling history. Even prominent voices and left-leaning media have begun encouraging Biden to step aside and let someone else younger run to be the party's nominee in 2024, but definitely not Kamala Harris. Wow. Mm-mm-mm. In the last few weeks alone, Democratic strategist James Cargill, MSNBC's Joe Scarborough, columnist Andrew Sullivan, and the Washington Post David Ignatius have all publicly called on Biden to consider his aides and cede the nomination. Yet few things have unified Democratic voters like the prospect of Trump returning to power, and Biden's political standing within this party stabilized after Democrats notched a stronger than expected performance last year in the elections. For now, the 76-year-old Trump is the favorite to emerge as the Republican nominee, creating the potential of a historic sequel to the tumultuous 2020 campaign. But Trump faces significant hurdles of his own, including the designation of being the first former president to face criminal charges. On Friday, Biden gave his vice president yet another task of her packed portfolio. Harris, the first woman to become vice president as well as the first black person and person of South Asian descent to hold the job, will now oversee the new White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Oh boy, that's doomed to fail right there, bro. That is doomed to fail right there. Gun violence prevention. She will oversee the new White House Office of Gun Prevention. Wow. Wow. Okay, so let's think about this for a second, right? We got avid gun rights owners and activists out here, right? And you have a situation to where we want tangible policies when it comes to addressing gun violence. But the people who get in the way of that are like, I don't know, the NRA, the police unions, and those are two of the biggest hurdles, right? Now, Kamala Harris was a prosecutor out in San Francisco. Her claim to fame when she beat the person that she worked for when she was out in San Francisco came off the backing of police unions. So you think that a former prosecutor who's now the vice president, who still takes money from the police unions, you think that she is going to enact any kind of policy that will combat gun violence? And the answer is a resounding no. If you can't see that, then you and I should not be talking politics. I will talk politics, and your ass could be talking about, I don't know, basket weaving. because Kamala Harris is a scam artist. This is a nothing burger. That's what it is. This thing about, oh, she will oversee the gun prevention division in the White House. It is a nothing burger. And then something I talked about before in a previous video, this woman don't want nothing to do with any issue that involves women's rights, that involves race relations, or anything that might be seen difficult. She basically wants these jobs that require little to no work of her. People out here that got these books, people out here that worked in her cabinet, people out here that know her from her time as a attorney general and as a prosecutor out in California when she was downtown Willie Brown side piece, right? This woman's reputation precedes her. She ain't gonna be no goddamn president of the United States unless Biden croaks or Biden end up as a vegetable and the 25th Amendment gets invoked. And then and only then she'll become president. So if that were to be the case, right? One, I'm gonna have to update my passport so I can move to Canada. That's for one. For two, all you people that's gonna be jumping up in the street, Roland Martin doing his damn grimace dance and all that, right? And Reese Colbert out here being a mouth frothing hood rat, they could be out there jumping up and down, doing all these backflips and shit. And how does that benefit the general public? Because we got the first quote unquote woman of color as president of the United States. How do we benefit from that? Huh? Before y'all go on y'all little bootleg jamboree, how do we benefit from this woman being president of the United States? Oh, we got a first black woman in the presidency, right? Who's married to a white man? Yeah, make that make sense. How make that correlate? Oh, we got a first black woman on the Supreme Court who's married to a white man. Yeah, make that make sense. Help me correlate that because I can't correlate that. See, you Democrats ain't slick. You Democrats ain't slick. This gender divide you're trying to do, trying to put black women against black men, it ain't gonna fucking work. Now there might be some tethers, there might be some black feminists out there, and if you come on here trying to talk that shit, I will blow your ass out the fucking water. You're not gonna come in here talking that goofy shit, right? Because that gender divide that the Democrats is doing, it ain't gonna work. We see the scam for what it is. All kinds of. Hey man, I know y'all saying that Judge Joe Brown had receipts on her, but he ain't the only one that had receipts. He ain't the only one. He ain't the only one that had receipts on her. Judge Joe Brown ain't the only one that had receipts on her. But yeah, man, salute to Judge Joe Brown for keeping it a buck. This woman tried to copy Obama's playbook word for word. That's what she tried to do. She tried to copy the Obama playbook word for word. How you think she got up in there? She followed Barack Obama around. Oh, hey Kamala. Hey, why are we talking about you being the face of the Democratic Party or lack thereof? Right? Let me ask you something, Kamala. Hey, what happened to that Matrice Richardson case? You ever got around to solving that case? Or did you drop it after you won your Senate seat? And then you dropped it again years later. And then you just happen to ignore the daddy of Matrice Richardson when he's trying to get you to provide some information regarding his daughter. Oh, what about this? Right? The Nina Simone affair. So let me get this straight. You snaked the daughter of Nina Simone to where the daughter of Nina Simone couldn't capitalize off the work her mama did. Sony ends up getting the masters of all of Nina Simone's work, and then you had the audacity to play her music when you won, when Joe Biden won the presidency and you was to become vice president. You did that shit, you disgusting vile hack. Okay, what about the ordeal you had with Steve Mnuchin when Steve Mnuchin ran that scam of a One West Bank out there in California, and you was the attorney general out there, could have gone after Steve Mnuchin, but instead, not only you not go after Steve Mnuchin kicks you off for some campaign cash, and not only that, he ends up becoming Trump's um, secretary of he ends up becoming Trump's treasury secretary. What about that? Because, see, that's what people won't say about her. I say it. I'll say it. I say it all day. This woman is a scam. And old nigga Jim Clyburn knows that. He knows this woman ain't gonna be no goddamn president of the United States. He knows that. Al Sharpton, all them clowns know that shit. They know that. They had to look at the polls. They had to know that the people here in the United States don't rock with Kamala Harris. I'm gonna play the clip again. DJ, spin that shit.
I know that you are saying you don't look at the polls too much, but our poll does show her favorability is actually lower than President Biden and even than former President Trump. Why do you think she's not resonating more with voters? What do you think the issue is?
Because when you compare the first woman of color and first woman to be vice president of the United States and compare that to all of the history before, you will get that. I think that during this campaign, she will demonstrate, as she did in that hall last night, that she knows exactly what she's doing. She has the capacity and the capability to be president of the United States if called upon to do so.
Yeah, right. You know you out there lying on nigga Jim Clyburn. Stop lying. Hey, when that fish fry is, because me and some of my brothers and sisters are going to infiltrate your little fish fry next year. And then on top of that, we going to ask you about reparations and dare you to kick us out. When your little, and when's that little fall fish fry bash you going to have with that other old nigga Al Sharpton? Huh? When y'all having that? It gonna be in New York or it's gonna be in DC? Let me know. Let me know, Clyburn, so me and some of my friends can go there and crash that bitch. But anyway, look, the fact of the matter is this. Oh, I forgot. How could I forget this? What's up, Maximus Royalty, my little brother in the building? Almost forgot. Hey, that bag of dope that was in the White House, right? Y'all ever find out who had that bag of dope? Because, look, and I don't like this porn star reject, but if they got closed circuit television footage of Lauren Boebert grabbing dicks, doing a package check and all that, and her little new boot thing, grabbing her tits and all that type of shit. And she's out there vaping and smoking and drinking and partying and carrying on like it's 1999, right? So you mean to tell me there's closed circuit television footage of Lauren Boebert doing that type of shit? And there's cameras following her out of the building. And there's cameras seeing her walking down the street hand in hand with her new little boo thing. But the White House, the most secure building in the fucking country, right? You got Secret Service agents everywhere. You got cameras everywhere. You got drones flying everywhere. And nobody, I mean nobody, can't tell you where that bag of dope that was in the White House at. Nobody knows whose bag of dope that was. I know whose bag of dope that was. It probably was Hunter Biden, allegedly. But the most secure fucking building in the country, the White House, you can't do anything. They got motions. They can track your fucking motions as you're walking through the goddamn White House. And you mean to tell me nobody don't know whose fucking dope it is? Nobody don't know whose bag of dope that was that fell out the bag, that fell out their pocket. Where was the fucking dope? And then if it fell out someone's pocket, chances are they had it in their hand, which it will have DNA on the bag. So you mean to tell me that nobody knows whose bag of dope it is? Okay, okay, okay. You Democrats is feckless, shameless shills. Kamala had a whole different area code. Y'all crazy, bro. So the math ain't mathing on that. Clyburn, Biden, Kamala, who dope it is? Huh? Whose dope is it? Is it Hunter Biden's dope? Right? Because I'm pretty sure if there's anybody else that had a bag of dope in the White House or whatever like that, they'll be arrested. Not only they'll be arrested, they'll be prosecuted, and they will never, ever, ever have access to any kind of government buildings ever again. But all of a sudden now we don't know whose bag of dope that was that fell on the floor. Come on now. Come on now. My mama birthed me during the day. It just wasn't yesterday. We ain't forget. We ain't forget it all, Clyburn. Y'all think y'all slick. Y'all think y'all gonna sit up here and play this good cop, bad cop all the way up to the election and all that. Fuck that. Fuck all that. We not having that. We not having that. We are not gonna play this good cop, bad cop where this the most important election of our lifetime and everybody need to get out and vote because your vote matters and your voice need to be heard and all that. Stop all that goofy shit. She's not the answer. Y'all know she's not the answer. So stop trying to lead us astray. Y'all know she's not the answer. So once again, if I hadn't said this once, I have said it 1,000 times on this video. Camel toe, oh, camel toe is not the answer y'all are seeking when it comes to the restoration and the liberation of black people. She's just not it. She's just not it. So you want to get mad? Get mad. But if you're going to go low, I'm going to go lower. Because that's how I roll. All this kumbaya, my lord kumbaya, all that shit, man. Fuck all that. All that reach out and touch somebody's head. Make this world a better place if you can. Fuck all that shit. Fuck all that bullshit. When you go low, I'm going to go lower. Fuck all that. Anyway, let me know what y'all think in the comments below. I thank everybody for tuning in. If you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. And last but definitely not least, shouts out to the Mighty Lions Den basketball community. Hey, Clyburn, I'm on your ass, old nigga. Straight up. This your man. Scream at me. Hurt!